Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the governor of the great state of Ohio, John Kasich, and the next president of the United States, Mitt Romney.
Hey, isn't it great to have Mitt Romney right here in Bowling Green, Ohio? Huh? Wow, what a turnout. I think this is an indication we may be with the next president of the United States right here, huh? Boy, did she get it. You mean tell me that you built your business with your own energy, your own money, and your own thinking, and the government didn't build it for you? Stand up! Stand up! Well, it's so exciting to have Bowling Green rocks, doesn't it? I mean, it just rocks up here. It's a great turnout for the governor. These are the kind of events where he sees this, boy, and I'll tell you, he's going to carry energy from this through the rest of the campaign, and you're just so fantastic to show up, huh? Everybody's fired up, huh? Well, you all remember the days when I was elected governor and I told everybody we're not raising taxes, we're going to build a strong economy in this state. And we had the $8 billion deficit and we had, Mitt, 89 cents in our rainy day fund. One young kid would write a check for 89 cents to double the fund. We had lost 400,000 jobs in the last 4 years, 600,000 over the last 10. And we came in operating under a philosophy that if you can reduce taxes, balance your budget, and build a rainy day fund, that you would be rewarded. So we no longer have a deficit, and we, instead of having 89 cents in our rainy day fund, we now have $500 million in our rainy day fund. And thanks to Randy Gardner and Mark Wagner, we have that. And you know what? They want to spend it, and I got news for them. We're not spending it. We're not spending it. And now we have nearly 100,000 people that have jobs since January of 2011. And we're now the number 4 job-creating state in America, coming from 48. But every day, I have the wind at my back. Every day, here in Ohio I do, but coming out of Washington is this big gale that puts the wind in my face. And you know what it does? It hurts us with the greatest moral issue of the day, which is the creation of jobs. When we have a president that does not understand the government didn't create the jobs, when we have a president that does not understand if you threaten to raise the costs for people who are job creators, you're going to stop job creation. When you have a president that has an administration that overregulates everything, the small business community and the small business employers, they're frozen. Now, you know what's interesting? The Romney campaign and the Kasich campaign have something very much in common. You know, they spent all their time trying to smear me because I worked in business. And you know why they did it? Because they had nothing to sell themselves. And you know now they are releasing one smear attack after another because Mitt Romney was in business and they've got nothing to sell. So now they try to smear this man. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest moral issue of the day are jobs. Why? Because when mom and dad are working, the marriage is stronger, the family is stronger, and the kids have hope and opportunity to realize their God-given purpose. Thank God that Mitt Romney was a businessman that understands how to create jobs in America and understands risk-taking and investment and low taxes. He took those job-creating business skills into the government in Massachusetts. You talk about a wind in your face coming from that legislature. But Mitt Romney was a job creator in the state of Massachusetts and eliminated the deficit and turned that state around, taking the knowledge he had in business and putting it in the government of the state of Massachusetts. And you know, folks, I think we're about 9 days away. Is there anything more important to our souls than an Olympic Games on American soil? I don't think so. The games were collapsing. They said, Mitt, would you come in? Could you come in and help us, because you know how to organize and you know how to create and you know how to lead. And in 2002, Mitt Romney answered the bell, and we had one of the most successful Olympic Games in modern history because of the organization and work and the character of Mitt Romney. He made it work. If there's anything we need today, it's people in government who know how to create jobs, not people who think government creates jobs. And this is our guy to lead America. So we have the trifecta. We have a man who understands how to give that man or that woman just on the corner here in Bowling Green the tools they need to create jobs and help families. We have a man that took that experience and was successful as an executive in our government. And I don't know about you, but I'm not voting for anybody else that's never been an executive and knows how to create jobs and knows how to accept personal responsibility. I don't know about you, but I'm not voting for anybody like that. And then he showed his skills as just a terrific leader by what he did in those Olympics. Folks, it's a crossroads election. It always is. 4 more years of the same old, or do we want to restore the prosperity, the hopefulness, the greatness of our country? We can do it. And ladies and gentlemen, the man to do it is Mitt Romney, the next president of the United States.
Thank you, Governor. Wow, what a welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Bowling Green, this is fabulous. Thank you. Governor Kasich, what a friend. Thank you. What a day this is. You guys, this kind of welcome is going to stay with me a long time. And I want you to know that despite all the challenges around the country and all the people that are suffering now, and there are a lot of people having a hard time making ends meet, I'm optimistic about the future. Things are about to get a lot better in this country. I know it's going to take a different direction than we've seen in Washington, and we're going to get that new direction. Coming November 6th, we're going to change our president. But my optimism flows from what's happening in states like this one, by the way, where people who believe in common sense principles, like holding down spending, balancing budgets, keeping taxes as low as possible, putting in place business-friendly legislation so that you encourage businesses to come back and to add jobs here. These principles are working in Ohio. And by the way, I was on a bus trip a few weeks ago, you may have seen, across Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan. I was in Indiana, Wisconsin. And these are states headed by Republican governors. And you know what? They're doing the right things, and it's making a difference. It's time to have the principles you're seeing here applied in Washington, and we're going to get more jobs if we do. But for too many Americans, these are tough times. The president, as you recall, after being inaugurated, went on the Today Show, and he said that if he couldn't turn the economy around in 3 years, he'd be looking at a one-term proposition. That's right. That's right. He has not done the job he said he was elected to do. He put all of his energy and attention in putting in place a whole series of liberal policies, and they're not helping. He says, look, just let them have more time. More time won't make things better. His policies have hurt job creation, not helped. And if you don't believe me, go talk to any business person. Small business, big business, middle-sized business. Go talk to them and say, did Obamacare make it more likely or less likely for you to hire people? Guess what their answer is going to be? No, 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 it did not help. Did Dodd-Frank make it easier for banks to make loans to people who need help getting a business going? Now, how about the president's energy policies, clamping down on coal and drilling for oil and gas? Did that help create jobs? Now, how about his proposal to raise taxes on small business from 35% up to 40%? Does that create jobs? Now, you know the answer, by the way. What you said is what you're going to hear by talking to people across this country in small businesses. People who are thinking of beginning a business. People who are already in an enterprise. Ask them, have the president's policies helped you? And they'll say time and again what you just said. No, they haven't. Today, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, NFIB, they announced a study they'd carried out. They talked to their members and had some economists trying to understand what would happen if the president's tax policies actually were enacted. Because his tax policy is to take the tax on small business from 35% to 40%. I say that because most small businesses are taxed as individuals. And he wants to raise the marginal tax rate from 35 to 40%. And the NFIB came back with a number. They said if that policy gets put in place, it will kill 710,000 jobs. That's the direction of this president. And there's something else, I think, that you ought to know. And that is when something's in trouble, when people need good jobs, you would think the president would focus all of his energy and his passion on helping people get jobs. But you know what he's been doing over the last 6 months? Yeah. In the last 6 months, he has held 100 fundraisers. And guess how many meetings he's had with his Jobs Council? None. Zero. Zero in the last 6 months. So it makes it very clear where his priorities are. His priority is not creating jobs for you. His priority is trying to keep his own job, and that's why he's going to lose it. He is simply out of touch with what's happening in this country. And he's out of ideas. He's offered no new ideas to get the economy going other than to send out another bailout to states. Do you want another bailout, Governor? No, no. The Republican governors aren't looking for another bailout. He's out of touch. He's out of ideas. He's out of excuses. And that's why in November we got to get him out of office. Now on Friday, he said something which the governor alluded to, which really reveals what he thinks about our country, about our people, about free enterprise, about freedom, about individual initiative, about America. And you've heard it already, and I've seen some signs that reference it. I just want to say it exactly as he said it. Speaking about small business and businesses of all kinds, he said this: if you've got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen. How many people here, would the people who began a business or are leading a business in this room please stand up? Wow, thank you. Thank you. Don't sit down. Stand up, keep standing up, keep standing up. Let me ask you, I know that you recognize a lot of people. Oh, don't sit down. I want you still up. Keep standing up. I know that you recognize a lot of people help you in a business. Perhaps the banks, the investors. There's no question your mom and dad, your school teachers, the people that provide roads, the fire, the police. A lot of people help. But let me ask you this. Did you build your business? If you did, raise your hand. Take that, Mr. President. This is what's happening in this country. These people are entrepreneurs. Thank you so much, you guys. By the way, there are a lot of people in government who help us and allow us to have an economy that works and allow entrepreneurs and business leaders of various kinds to start businesses and create jobs. We all recognize that. That's an important thing. Don't forget, by the way, government doesn't invent those people out of thin air. We pay for those people with our taxes. We're paying for those resources that we receive. But to say what he said is to say that Steve Jobs didn't build Apple Computer, or that Bill Gates didn't build Microsoft, or that Henry Ford didn't build Ford Motor Company, or that Ray Kroc didn't build McDonald's, or that Papa John's didn't build Papa John's Pizza. This is the height of foolishness. It shows how out of touch he is with the character of America. It's one more reason why his policies have failed. It's one more reason why we have to replace him in November. And by the way, for all those in this room who didn't start a business, and that's the great majority of people in our country, I hope you understand that the logic of what the president said extends to all of you. Because what he's saying is that if someone has succeeded, if they built something, he's saying they didn't really build it. No, it was the government. It was the government that takes responsibility. So for the student in school that works hard to get on the honor roll, that's not really them. That's their teacher that did that, and the government that paid for it. And if somebody came here across the border legally and brought their family seeking a better life, their success is not due to them. No, they didn't build it. The government gets credit for that. And if a person in their job says, you know what, I'm going to work hard and get more skills, and I got a promotion. That promotion, oh, by the way, that's not yours. That's thanks to government. That's where this leads. When you attack success like this president has, you will see under this president less success. I will celebrate success, reward success, encourage it, help it in our kids and our families. We'll be a more successful and prosperous nation with more jobs and rising income. That's the direction for America, not this denigration of success and achievement in America. You know, when I got this campaign going, I said this was going to be an election about the soul of America. And a lot of people wondered about that. Was I overstating it? I don't think we're overstating it at all. Because you see, I go back to the soul of America having been established clearly in the voices of the founders who, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, did not give credit for our rights to the government, but instead to the Creator where it belongs. And among the rights given to us, not by government, but by our Creator, are our right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. People in this country are free to pursue happiness as we choose. We're not limited by the circumstance of our birth. This idea of criticizing and attacking success, of demonizing those in all walks of life who have been successful, is something which is so foreign to us, we simply can't understand it. I was with Marco Rubio the other day at a rally like this. And he said, you know, he grew up in a pretty modest home in the Miami area, and he said around them were some spectacular homes, very successful people. And he said never once did he hear his parents say, why won't those people give us some of what they have? Instead, what they said was, aren't we lucky to live in a country where if you work hard and get an education and take a risk, someday you might be able to achieve that yourself. That's the way America works. That's the heart of America. Barack Obama's attempt to denigrate and diminish the achievement of the individual diminishes us all. We all, of course, recognize the power of all of us working together. We're a united nation. He divides us. He tries to divide America, tear America apart. He tries to diminish those who've been successful in one walk of life or another. It's simply wrong. It is not the right course for America's strength. We need to draw on the people of America individually, collectively, so we can overcome the challenges we face. And I know we're going to do it. I know how to get this economy going, by the way. The governor said, the governor said that having spent 25 years in the private sector, I have some idea how business people make decisions and why they decide to come someplace, why they decide to leave and go somewhere else. And based upon that, I've got 5 things. 5 things I'm going to do that are going to get this economy going again in a hurry, in a big way. We're going to surprise the world. And by the way, it's not based on a philosophy that says that government is the source of all the answers. It's based on a recognition that free people pursuing their dreams, taking risk, and building will get American jobs again. And so, my 5 things, in no particular order, except the last one is kind of big. All right, so we'll come to that one at the end. Number 1, I'm going to take advantage of our energy resources, our oil, our coal, our gas, the pipeline from Canada. We're going to get America energy secure. This president's done almost everything in his power to make it impossible to mine coal, to use coal. He's held off on the development of our oil resources. He's tried to have the federal government insinuate itself into the production of natural gas. What he has done has not made it easier for people in the energy industry, and that's harmed the American consumer, and it's meant jobs have left to go elsewhere where energy is less expensive and more abundant. And I'm going to change all that. We're going to get ourselves energy secure. I'm also going to open up new markets for our goods because we're the most productive people in the world. We can compete with anyone, sell products around the world. I want to open up markets in Latin America to American goods. By the way, the Chinese and the Europeans have figured that out. In the last 3.5 years while this president's been in office, they put together some 44 trade agreements with nations around the world, and he's put together none. I'm going to get us trading and opening up more goods for more jobs for Americans. So number 1, energy. Number 2, trade. Number three, if a nation has massive debts that ultimately become overwhelming to the overall economy, it slows down the rate of growth of the economy, and that means fewer jobs. And therefore, I will do what is necessary to finally get America a balanced budget. This president said he'd cut the deficit in half. He's doubled it. It's time to get a balanced budget. That's number 3. Number 4, I want to make sure that the workers of today have the skills they need to compete in the jobs of today, and the kids coming through our schools are able to have the skills they need. Our schools around the nation are underperforming what they could do. Our teachers are terrific. Our parents are terrific. Single moms are working their hardest to give their kids a brighter future. I love them. I love what they're doing. But let me tell you, we got to get the teachers' unions behind and the parents, the teachers, and the kids ahead. Now I said 5 points: energy, trade, balancing our budget, and giving our kids and the adults in our society the skills they need. There's one more, and that is we have to restore economic freedom in this country. You see, America's economy runs on freedom. It is not driven by government. It's driven by free people pursuing their dreams. And so we've seen during this presidency one step after another that's made it harder for people to see freedom in enterprise here. We raise taxes on small businesses. That's got to end. We got to keep them down, lower them. We add regulation at a rate 3 times higher than the last president. This Dodd-Frank piece of legislation is killing small banks. We've also seen healthcare costs go through the roof. That's making it harder for small business. We have labor policies that in many cases are not fair to members of of our working community and to their employers. These things have to change. I want to restore economic freedom because I've seen what it'll do. As I've gone across the country these last couple of years, I'm just blown away by the entrepreneurs and innovators in America. I saw so many here stand up as they showed their commitment and their work in putting a business together. I met a guy today in Toledo. He began a business, $1,000 and a mortgage on his house, second mortgage, and he began a business. It now employs 30,000 people. Just amazing. I met Alex Lukianoff of San Diego, Russian immigrant to this country. Got some back issues. He looks at how back surgery's done, thinks he has a better idea for how to do it, invents a product that surgeons can put in to help people with back problems. Now that little business has $900 million in sales and employs 1,200 people. I met someone you may know, a neighbor from Illinois. Well, it's not exactly a neighbor, but one state over. I met a guy from Illinois, Jim Leotone, and Jim didn't do so well in school. He was second from the bottom in his high school class. His dad said, either you get into college or go into the military. And his son said, well, I'd like another option. I'd like to be able to borrow money from your dad to start a little business. And his dad agreed. They'd split the business 50-50 about, and if he could pay back the loan that he borrowed and with interest on it, why, he could go on with his business career. And so he loaned him the money, and then Jim found out that with the money he got, he couldn't begin to open a restaurant because it costs a lot more than he thought. I mean, just to put in a griddle, you know, to make the hot dogs and the hamburgers and the venting hood and all that, well, it costs a lot more money than what he was able to get from his dad. And so all he could make was sandwiches. So he worked out of the garage and made sandwiches and then delivered them to people. Now, this little idea that he fought for and that he risked for, and without thanks to the government for having built it, this little business is now known as Jimmy John's. And there are 1,200 Jimmy John stores in this country. Now, of course, he couldn't have those stores without roads to get to people, and we thank the people for building the roads. And he couldn't have people delivering sandwiches unless they had a driver's license, so thank you to the DMV. But, you know, I mean, we recognize that we're all working together. But I also think there's something special about Jimmy John Leotone and about the risk he took and the work he's pursued and the people around him in his enterprise who, like him, believed in his vision and worked for it. That's what makes America go. It's still in America. We're going to keep it alive and thriving in America. That's what's going to get America working again with the kind of jobs we deserve. I see there's some fun signs here. What does that say? I built my own business. Exactly right. Up there. Even Chicago wants Mitt. How's those green jobs, Obama? Outsourced. Ohio for small business. Let's see. More Obama equals less job creation. These are fun. I created my business, not the government. These are fun. These are fun signs here. You guys in back can't see them. But those who made those signs, thank you for reminding us who it is in America that creates jobs. I know it's your turn to ask me questions. This is a town hall, but I want to say, what does that say up there? Culver. Oh, Culver's. There's another entrepreneur right there. I want you to know how important this is. This election about the soul of America is whether we're going to believe in America that's dominated by government. We're going to have a president who believes government is at the center of America, the nucleus of our economy, or whether instead we're going to have a president like me who believes in the vision of the Founding Fathers that God gave us our rights, and those rights include our freedom to pursue happiness as we choose. And it matters, you guys. It matters when we make that choice. Because if we follow my path, we're going back to work. We're going to have a bright future with good jobs for ourselves and our kids. And we'll protect freedom and be the hope of the earth. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn to ask me questions. You get to ask me some questions now. And if you are members of the media, I just try and dodge them. But I'm just kidding, of course. But I'm going to do my best to answer questions that you have. And by the way, you can ask your governor, too. If you want him to come repave the road in front of your house, why just tell him your address and he'll do it, I'm sure. Right over here. Yes, ma'am.
I want assurances that when your 8 years as president is over and the ship heading towards Niagara Falls is starting to turn around, we need a conservative vice president. I don't want to fight the Washington establishment to take this country back. We need you to have your ear to the Tea Party that brought 2010 elections before the Republicans.
Thank you. Well, I can assure you that even though I have not chosen the person who will be my vice president, that person will be a conservative. They will believe in conservative principles. And I know looking 8 years down the road is a little far to look, but I can tell you this. But eight years out there, we're going to have a balanced budget. We're going to have a court that believes in following the Constitution and following the law. We're going to have the world surprised at how dramatically America's economic comeback was and how many good people see good jobs again. We're going to see America almost at the point of being energy independent, meaning North America, that we in Canada and Mexico are able to live with our own energy and don't have to import it from anywhere else. We're going to see our schools finally offering to our kids and their parents the choice of where they'd like to go to school, and our kids will be among the best educated in the world. We got a lot of work to do between now and 2008. Excuse me, 2008. That was backwards. Between now, let's see, 8 years from 2012, 2020, 2020. It's a perfect vision into 2020. Thank you for your question. Yes.
Hi, Mitt. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. You can give her the microphone. That's all right.
I wanted to tell you about my son. He is the epitome of what you've been speaking about all week. He created his own business with his own idea. He used to be a VP with a different firm. I can't say who. And he has a string of stores. And because of this awful economy that Obama's created, now he has had to lay off people. And he may have to close some stores. And it's all because of what this monster has done to this country. We have to have you as president.
That's not a term I would use, but
I can. I'm an angry mom.
You're an angry mom. Good. You have every right to be angry.
Women drive the economy, like your wife said,
yeah.
And this happens to be a ladies' apparel, and women do the shopping there. And all of them are saying, they don't have any money.
Yeah, look, I agree with you.
And he's my son. I raised him. He went to Ohio State, summa cum laude. I'm very proud of him. He did it on his own. He's got a family, and he's taken a risk. And this guy in the White House has no business to try to destroy what he's created.
Thank you. One, I give your son great credit for taking the risk and for employing other people. That's a terrific thing to do. I also recognize that the Obama years have not been good years for business, with very few exceptions. By the way, one of the exceptions is if you happen to have been a large campaign contributor to the Obama campaign, why, you may have found yourself able to receive a government guarantee or loan. There have been some like Solyndra, Fisker, Tesla, others that have received $500 million each. It's only coincidental, by the way, that these are contributors to the Obama campaign, and not all of them have done very well. Solyndra, you know the answer to there. Fisker makes electric cars, and we loaned them $500 million. When I say we loaned them, I mean taxpayers loaned them $500 million. And guess where they make their cars? Finland. Yeah, Finland. So the Obama economy has not been good. I think by the way, it's not because of who the president is at his heart. It's because of what he thinks is right. And liberals have a very different view about how the economy works. He revealed the way he thinks. He really does think that it's sort of a collective government effort that somehow makes us all economically successful. That's just not right. Ronald Reagan used to say it. He said effectively these words. He said, It's not that liberals are ignorant. It's just that what they know is wrong. And what he's done has been wrong for helping your business. And if I'm president, I'll go to work every day to make sure our economy comes back. Thank you. Up there. Hi.
Hi, Governor. Welcome to Bowling Green. Good to have you. I'm a home builder, 42 years in business, and home building has been ground zero for this recession, as you probably know. Many of the people in this room have seen their property values drop 20 to 40%. I've done 3 subdivisions here in Bowling Green, and I put the streets in, and then I give them to the government. Okay?
I hope you get credit for that, by the way.
Yeah. I don't see us having a recovery in this country until real estate market comes back.
Yeah.
And what we've been faced with now is investors cannot borrow money to buy up these houses on its shadow inventory. The Wall Street Journal says there's a 9.5-year inventory of shadow inventory of houses in this country unsold.
Wow.
And so we have all these houses, a glut of houses, and qualified investors cannot get money through the banks to buy up these houses. And that's where we're going to have to go with real estate. We're going to have to allow Freddie and Fannie and everything to allow a loan to qualified investors so we can have a recovery.
I appreciate your insight in that. And by the way, there's no question but that to get this economy going, we need to see housing going again, construction going again of all kinds. That has not happened. Of course, it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing here, too. We need people going back to work with good jobs so they can afford good homes again. And the president has tried to hold off this huge inventory of overhang of unsold homes. I want to get those homes in the hands of homeowners, of investors. Let renters come into the homes, get them out of this overhang so we can, if you will, get this home markets rising again. And until we finally recognize that the president's policies have not worked in housing, we're going to see ourselves continue to have this huge overhang, and that depresses the value of homes. I want to put you back to work. Are you building any this year?
Yeah, but I have one last thing for you.
Please.
When you gave your speech in New Hampshire, your victory speech, I was in the living room and I was practicing for this day. And I want all my friends here in Bowling Green to join me. Ready? Mitt, 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 Mitt.
Thank you. Contrary to all appearances, that was not my brother, all right? Yes, sir.
Governor, thank you for coming back to Northwest Ohio. We know you're not a stranger here. About 1.5 years ago, somebody floated a trial balloon that scared the daylights out of a lot of retirees. Now, they're the last people in the world that should be frightened. But we are also sitting on a lot of money. And a lot of this money is in 401ks and different other privately funded retirement plans. Can you give us your assurance that you will not jeopardize these plans and make certain that the government keeps their hands off our retirement savings?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's a disturbing thing and a sad thing when politicians start frightening seniors in ways that are untruthful. And I don't know the specific occurrence you're referring to, but I can tell you this, which is that Social Security and Medicare are going to be there for our seniors, for those that have retired, for those that are near retirement. But for these two kids here, how old is she? 4, and this guy who's 8, 9, 8. For the two of them, those programs won't be there unless we make sure and make changes that assure that they will be there for them as well. There's only one person I know who has cut Medicare by $500 billion, and that's President Obama. When your friends who are retired say to you, "Oh boy, I'm concerned about voting for the Republican because they might cut Medicare," say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. The only person that's cut Medicare is President Obama by $500 billion. And so I will protect Medicare and Social Security for you, for those that have retired, for those near retirement, and for these two little ones. And protect your savings as well." And by the way, I have something in mind for for everybody who's middle income in this country. It's tired of trying to keep track of every investment they made and when they bought it and when they sold it and whether it went up or went it down and whether their dividend came this year or last year. What I'm going to tell you is this. If you make $250,000 a year or less, if I'm president, I will fight to make sure you pay no tax on interest, dividends, or capital gains. Zero, so you can save your money for retirement or for school or for whatever the heck you want. Thank you. Right there's the young lady. Yeah. Hi.
I'm an engineering student. Is it on?
Oh, it'll turn on in a second.
Okay.
Watch.
Okay. I'm an engineering student, and I want to work in the oil industry. And I was wondering what you would do to help out with Canadian shale oil, to keep that from going to Canada, or keep it from going from Canada to China and bringing shale oil here, and help out drilling efforts in the Gulf. Are you going to help open those up to help the refining industry out?
She is an engineer, isn't she? Yeah. That's impressive. You know, the president doesn't face a lot of no-brainer decisions. But one of them was the decision of whether or not to have Canada's oil come here or go to Canada, and he failed. The answer is, I'll build that Keystone pipeline if I have to build it myself. Bring that oil here. And you see, I also want to get oil from the Outer Continental Shelf. When I hear that in the Gulf of Mexico that we have drilling rigs that are leaving there and going other places, like down to Brazil, because they can't get the permits to drill here. The president has cut almost in half drilling permits and licenses on federal lands and federal waters. Look, I want to double. I want to dramatically increase the number of licenses and permits that we provide to drillers. I want to use our natural gas, too. I want to use our oil, our natural gas, our coal again. I want our coal to come back. We need these sources of energy. And if we do, we can keep the... By the way, I hope everybody understands this, which is, if you have plentiful energy like we do, and you take advantage of it, and it's low cost, and our natural gas, by the way, as you know, is very low cost. If you take advantage of that and have it available, then you're going to have manufacturers that use energy come back to America. And that means not only jobs in the energy sector for engineers like yourself, but it also means jobs for people in manufacturing. And so we have an opportunity here with energy that's really second to none. It's an amazing blessing that America has. And I'm going to take advantage of that to get this economy going again, along with those other elements of my 5-point plan. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks to the Senior Community Services Employment Program, which is funded by the Department of Labor and operated by private nonprofit business, I was able to get job training and a job. And I'm wondering what you will do to help other older Americans like me get job training and jobs.
Let me tell you what I'd like to do with our job training effort. And we have, I think the number is 47, it could be 49. But we have about 47 or 49 federal job training programs. And they report to about 8 different federal agencies. You can imagine the overhead, the bureaucracy. And they're administered at the federal government level. What I would like to do is take all that money and take Ohio's fair share and give it to the governor and the legislature and say, you create programs that you think are best to help your people get the jobs that are needed in Ohio. I think states can do a better job than 47 bureaucracies in Washington, D.C. So, and let me tell you something. Let me tell you something we tried in my state. I'd love to see other states. You may already be doing this. I'd love to see other states try, by the way, improve on it in dramatic ways. We said we had a real concern with people who've been out of work for a long time, over a year. And we said to employers, if you'll hire someone who's been out of work for a year or more, we'll give you a couple $1,000s to train them in a real job that you need done. And so the employer had an incentive to hire someone, and then they had the money to train them. And so that was a heck of a lot better than just having them go off to a training class, maybe or maybe not being able to find a job. So just an idea, but I want to have the states be the home for a lot of things. By the way, our programs for the poor, we need to care for those that can't care for themselves. we're a very compassionate people. And we have Medicaid to provide health care for the poor and food stamps. So many people rely on those, and housing vouchers. I happen to believe, again, these dollars would be best directed at the state level, where you can make sure there's no fraud and abuse, and you can make sure the people who need the help are the ones actually getting it. Thank you. Over here, let's see, where are we going to go? You guys? There's someone in the back row back there. That's you. Yep.
Hi, Mitt. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
I'm just a little afraid of what's going on in this country due to the fact of the arrest out in Arizona recently of a couple who was holding a Bible study in their own home. The attack on religious freedom is definitely not the USA or the land of the free that we were born and raised in, and I would really like to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, thank you. Religious liberty, our first freedom of those enumerated in the Bill of Rights. And the President and his administration said they are going to usurp your religious freedom by demanding that you provide products to your employees, if you're the Catholic Church, that violate your own conscience. And so whether it's a Catholic business person or the Catholic Church itself, they're being told what they have to do that violates their religious conscience. That attack on religious freedom, I think, is a dangerous and unfortunate precedent. And I know we're not all Catholic in this room. Many presumably are. But I feel that we're all Catholic today in our battle to make sure we preserve religious liberty and tolerance and freedom in this country. It is essential for us to push back against that. I will say it again. That's one more good reason to get rid of Obamacare, and I'm going to get that done. First day I'm in office, we're going to go to get rid of Obamacare. Thank you. Now you think I'd started with that. That's the line I should have begun with, right? Okay, I got one more question. Here's a man in a Hawaiian shirt there. How are you?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your stamina and integrity that you represent. And with that, I know that you want to preserve the Constitution of the United States. And with part of the responsibility of the presidency is the United Nations representative, our State Department. And with that, we all know that some of their policies are trying to backdoor and tear down our freedoms. Can you address that?
Yeah, I sure can. I know there are some who I fully believe would say, let's just get out of the UN. I know there are many people who feel that, but I actually think you need to have a place to talk to other people, even if you know they're lying, so you can at least you can hear what they have to say and sort of get what their propaganda is. And by the way, I appreciate a few of the things the UN does, like the IAEA. This is the folks that goes around and determines who's violating the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. And so there's some things that are good. There are a lot of things that are not good. And turning to the United Nations to tell us how to raise our kids or whether we can have the Second Amendment rights that our Constitution gave us, that is the wrong way to go, all right? Do not cede sovereignty. I'm happy to talk there. I'm not willing to give American sovereignty in any way, shape, or form to the United Nations or any other body. We are a free nation. We fought for freedom and independence. We're going to keep freedom and independence. Thank you. You guys, you are the best. We are going to take back Washington. We're going to save the country. We're going to get this economy going. We're going to fight for the soul of America. We're going to celebrate success and achievement. We're going to keep America the hope of the earth. Thank you so very much. Great to be with you. Thank you.